G'day. How are we all tonight? I'm just waiting for a few more people to jump on board. I'm a fraction early tonight. I'm just trying out some new computer gear and some new camera gear and some new software, so please bear with me if we have some technical difficulties. But like I said, I am a few minutes early tonight. So I'm hoping this is going out live stream. It should be. I'm just going to check my feeds here and just see what's happening. Let me got stuff going on everywhere. See what's what. If this is coming through to you live, it's saying it is, but first I'm using it, so let's try it out. Something going on. Anyway, we're going to say that I think we're there. I think we're happening. It's good to me. Not that we've got anyone chimed in yet, but 7:30. Let's kick off. Let's kick off. So, how's everyone out there going? Hope you're all kicking a few goals across the old great land of Australia. A few things to get through tonight. I want to try and cover a little bit on optics each week if I can. Just a little tidbit, and and maybe try some what current events that are going on in agriculture at the moment. So if you do see me look towards my screens over here, it is because I'm just looking at a few notes on some of the events that happened this week, and there's plenty going on in the agricultural sector right now, affecting a lot of rural communities, both positive and negative. But look, all in all, weather report, Darling Downs, 5 to 25 degrees most days. We had an hour of rain this afternoon, just a little isolated thunderstorm, but first little storm of the season. Bit of frost still down in the New England, down in the home country down there. So, and a few fires been around in the last couple of days, but both burn off, and just a few light ups from around the place. A couple of shout outs to catch up on. Shout out for the Steel Oaks crew. Last week they did the Newdigate field days, took a bit of our gear, talked a good talk. Thanks again to those guys, always looking after us. And I hope that anyone who went to the field days didn't get too wet, because from the footage that Steelo and crew were putting out, it was pretty wet there as well. So again, thanks to all those people who went and supported those rural communities. Again, shout out to WA guys. Plenty of legislation and regulation talk still going on. That's hard for dealers. That's hard for anyone really connected to the community, because there's people's livelihoods on the line over there. So again, we're all thinking about you over here, but help yourselves. That's the only way. Work with each other to figure out what's what, and support your local guy over there. What else I've got to get through? Probably jump straight into some optic talk. So had a small little conversation with someone through the week in store. One thing come out of that conversation was there's probably a fair few people out there that don't understand how to correctly focus the eyepiece or the ocular end of their rifle scope. That system's there to help your individual eye have the reticle in focus. So there's a small amount of adjustment on that diopter. And depending on your eyes, how you are, the age of your eyes, I've got astigmatism in my right eye. So my eye tends to need that diopter wound in the opposite direction most people do as they lose a bit of vision as you get older. So for me, I need the diopter wound all the way in, almost all the way in, for me to get a clear reticle. Now, if I'm depending on how I'm wearing my glasses, if I'm wearing glasses at all, that will make it a difference to that adjustment. So do keep that in mind if you're someone that does wear um, glasses. The other thing that I find with that diopter adjustment is no one likes to get old. Is how I'm going to say it. Nobody likes to get old, uh, and that diopter adjustment can honestly be a trigger for some people to go to the optometrist because when that diopter is required to be all the way in or all the way out, and most people how their eyes age will be is that they'll need that diopter wound all the way out or wound further out. What tends to happen, it's like dad or granddad that their arm doesn't get long enough to be able to read the newspaper anymore because they can't hold it out far enough. Well, the doctor's doing the same thing. It's trying to correct that vision so that reticle's nice and crisp for you, but it can't do that anymore because you need it so far wound out. And in my time dealing with optics, I've seen uh, customers that have come in and they've had that diopter literally screwed out of the housing because they've tried to turn it so hard it's come out of the housing, no matter the brand. Some brands, the way they're designed, make that easier to happen. Some brands, that diopters or that eyepiece is only held on by a series of O-rings. So if you twist too hard, that whole eyepiece will come off in your hand. So it's really important to take note of that diopter because when you want to look through a rifle scope day or night and you say it doesn't look clear to me, there is multiple things that it can be. If it's a fixed parallax optic, like one of our Matilda products, so our rimfire product, um, that's fixed parallax. So you can't adjust the parallax, so it should be in focus at 50 meters for you. And there is an adjustment there on that eyepiece, and that eyepiece adjustment will have an effect on the clarity of that scope for your eye, and it's mainly going to be that reticle and how that's perceived. The other thing is how you specifically can communicate that to the person that you're looking for help for. So when you're trying to say it's not clear to me that scope, words to that effect, we need to do a better job of both asking the right questions of you, the consumer, making sure that we're understanding what you are trying to convey, and you as a consumer doing a best job you can to explain what you mean by something's not clear. So I'm just going to reach behind me and grab a scope so we can just make sure we're all talking about the right adjustment. So I've got one of our Endeavour 1 to 4 optics here. It's a 1 to 4 to 24, 30 mil main tube. Go great on fast shooting products. Things like if your bang sticks a pump action, big caliber 45-70, 30-30, 450 Bushmaster, 350 Legend, um, 223 in the blackout in some of the new Taipan configurations. Something like this would be terrific for your kit. Sorry, I'm trying to get the light on it there for you. But what we're talking about is this particular adjustment right here. Now, I'm trying to get that in focus for you, sorry. Now, that particular focus ring on this particular scope is called a quick eye or a fast focus. Quick eye adjustment. There's multiple different terminologies for it, and each brand has its own little unique way of explaining it to their particular brand. But what I was briefly mentioning is if like me, I've got astigmatism in my right eye. My right eye is becoming less dominant, even though that's my eye domination from birth is right eye. I need that. I'm going to say, 8/10 of the way wound in, and that'll crisp up that reticle for me. If you're needing that all wound all the way in, and you still are having problems with clarity, and we're talking specifically reticle clarity, if you're having reticle clarity problems, you need to go to the optometrist. It is not the optic, particularly on these optics that are focus free. I'm going to say, I'm being pretty critical there, but I'm going to say that is going to be 90% of the problem for most people. If the optic's damaged, broken in some way, that'll be the only I guess, way you can get around that, or other caveat, I should say, is probably a better word to explain it. If the optic's damaged or broken, you may have a focus problem in there. But let's assuming all things are good and equal. If you've got that set all the way in or all the way out, and we'll go all the way out here, it's a hard stop with our product. I'm putting a fair amount of force on that. So you have a fair bit of a diopter adjustment there. If you have it all the way and all the way back and it's still not clear for you, you need to go to the optometrist. It's a sure sign for most gentlemen, particularly ladies, men, anyone, particularly in their 50s, I'm going to say, and your optometrist was probably going to say that for most people, that's when they'll notice some deterioration in their vision due to age. And if that's the case, not the rifle scope, as I said, in not all things being equal, it won't be the rifle scope, it'll be your eye. And then you might need to shoot with glasses on. So you might say, how do I get it clear? How do I get that reticle clear for me? There's a lot of people that I've seen try to explain this. It is a fairly simple thing, and a lot of people will take it for granted. Actually, I should actually go through some of the types. Generally, there's two types of eyepiece focuses, or ocular diopters. One of them is this quick eye system, which, from my observation of the industry, I'm going to say that's the most common these days. Is going to be that quick eye focus system. The other is a lock ring system, so you'll physically have to undo a threaded nut and then twist the eyepiece and then lock that lock ring up again once you have the correct setting for your eye. Some great advantages between both. For example, the quick eye system, like our product has, where you can just quickly adjust that, is great for people that are sharing equipment. So, for example, if you've got a father and son working on the farm together, son's 21, father's 63, what you're going to find is that their eyes are going to be very different in most circumstances. So dad may need that fast focus switched all the way or turned all the way out, and son may need that in a medium position, a normal position, which is about halfway. So for those people in that scenario, can pick that rifle up, that bang stick up, and make you've got the firearm mounted. You simply adjust that, pull the trigger. That's how easy it is with that kind of system. There can be, depending on the brand, some negative to the fast system. For example, if you're hiking up mountains, you've got a backpack on, the scope's moving around, it's the scopes are getting pulled in and out of a rifle case very often. Depending on the manufacturer, will depend on how much tension is on that diopter. And some brands it'll be quite loose, and other brands it'll be quite firm. So depending on your brand, you may need to, from time to time, just double check where that's sitting. I know some people with these fast eye focuses that don't share equipment put a bit of electrical tape around that. That gives them some reassurance that it hasn't moved. Again, when it comes to the lock ring system, when you're once you get it set for your eye, they are generally don't set and forget. You don't need to touch it ever again. Unless your eye changes, something like that goes on, you shouldn't need to touch it for some time. So when it comes to ruggedness on quad bikes, vehicles, sometimes people have a bit more confidence in that lock ring system. It is really a personal choice. I've got a mix of both products. Uh, does it concern me when I use my bang sticks? No, it doesn't concern me at all. Is it something that every so often I notice or I put it in my checklist when just like you clean your rifle, you're checking your tensioning of your action screws, all those sorts of things? Yes, it is something that I check from time to time. So that's enough about the two major systems. Again, a lock ring system, it's a little bit more cumbersome to adjust on the fly versus this kind of fast focus system. What do you see more often in the market? Fast focus now. A lot of manufacturers still sell that as a bonus feature, pay more for it because it's got it. So how do I adjust it and how do I adjust it correctly? The number one thing that I see people do when adjusting their ocular end diopter is they continually look through the optic for 2, 3, or 4 minutes, or even longer sometimes. And the reason they're doing that is they're struggling to get that focus. They're struggling to get that reticle crisp. So they're continually in and out and in and out and a bit more and a bit less. Our brains are very smart. Our bodies are very smart. The reason it's taking that person so long to adjust that focus for their eye on that reticle is simply because your eye is also compensating. The muscles are being used to tension that lens in your eye to make it crisp. So you're continually fighting against your body to try and get that crisp. So there's a real simple trick. Point it up in the sky. If it's mounted to a bang stick, do all those appropriate safety checks, point it in a safe direction, make sure it's unloaded. Nice blue day, nice blue sky, point it up in the sky, look through your optic, make a small adjustment, close your eyes, look away. Look back, make a small adjustment, close your eyes, look away. That is the best way to do that. And you might need to do that 3, 4, or 5 times, whatever you need to do, depending on where your optic was, where your diopter was set out of the box. You may need to do that a few times, but don't continually stare through it. A few seconds. Get that focus, see it's going the right direction, look away. What you're doing is, by looking away, you're letting your eye relax, focus at other distances, blank out that image in your mind, and then do it again. Because again, if you're thinking about shooting, you're thinking about using the product, you raise the rifle, there's the pig, bang. So you need it to be crisp in that moment. Is the best way to describe it. If you're behind the glass for a long period of time, your eye gets fatigued. So you do still need to look away, particularly if you're using, milling reticles. Some of those hashes are quite fine on those milling reticles. It's hard to get them all in focus when you've been staring through it for 25 minutes. Take a blink, take a rest, look away for a sec, look down, get back on the equipment, and away you go. So I hope that was 10 or 12 minutes. I hope that that's pretty clear. Excuse the pun. I hope that's pretty clear for you. Essentially, hold it up onto a nice bright background, get the reticle crisp, give it the best chance, make a small adjustment, turn your head away, close your eyes, look back through it, and do that until it's clear for you. If you still can't get it clear and you've run out of adjustment, go see your optometrist is the tip of the day on that one. Just so you know, our little Endeavour 1 to 4, it's also illuminated. It has like a little illuminated dot in there, so it's very popular for us on those fast shooting, large caliber type systems. All right, so that's a little bit about optics. Couple of issues I thought worth talking about for rural communities. Again, we're a rural company. Um, we're rooted in rural Australia, both in Queensland and New South Wales. Couple of bigger things happening on a political stage at the moment. There's a national farmers rally in Canberra today. Good to see a lot of people from all over Australia go and show their support for the issues that they are passionate about and how it affects them and their community. It's nice to show Canberra sometimes that there is other places besides uh, in a city. There's people that live in the bush still. We need the bush. We need to support our farmers. I've said it before. We don't support our farming communities. We lose some culture in our cultural identity, and we don't have any to eat generally. So just to run you over some of the highlights of that rally in Canberra today, uh, live sheep export issue. That's been a really big one in WA for some time. That's one of the topics they're raising in Canberra. Water buybacks in the Murray-Darling Basin, that's been a touchy subject for a lot of communities. I'm sure you've all seen the rigmarole with the Murray-Darling Basin being, that plan's been dragged out for so many years, it's not funny. Cultural and environmental flows, how that affects communities, how that affects the food we grow in those areas. You think about it, if the farmer's got half as much water as he had last season to grow the same amount of crop, um, you know, the livelihood of that rural community, that individual farmer, and the price of groceries all takes a hit. The other one is I haven't followed this issue really closely, but there's some issues around the working visa. There's some potential changes there for the 88 day working visas. So a lot of those, um, harvest jobs, fruit picker type jobs, a lot of that serviced by backpackers in rural communities. There's a lot of schemes, the Pacific Islands scheme, where we get a lot of islanders across to help us at that seasonal work, even harvest drivers, people coming from Canada and all they do is all year is drive a harvester because it's really hard to get those quality people. So a couple of other interesting news articles came out this week. Excuse me. We read the Queensland Country Life and the Land pretty regularly, weekly. No, I've got no affiliation with them. I think it's one of the best, honest bits of paper around. Personally, they have a lot of relevant articles that speak to a lot of rural communities. So, a couple of things that stood out to me this week worth talking about. There's been a call for renewed pest hunting in Queensland in state forests. There was in 2017, it was an election issue. The government at the time turned it down, didn't support it. There were some concerns from them with community safety, animal welfare, and effectiveness of the hunting itself. Well, a big part of the article, if you read it, I think it's on page, just to give you the rundown, this week's paper, page 6, top left-hand corner. They interviewed multiple Deer Association, Australian Pig Doggers and Hunters Association, Shooters Union. There was several people that gave comment to the article, and 35,000 feral pigs in rural Queensland properties are shot in 1 week. 35,000 pigs. So there's obviously a problem that still needs to be sorted out. Hunters can be a part of that. Rural people are a part of that. There's not just some relaxation about that. It keeps local kids off the street, keeps them engaged in their communities. These sorts of outlets for people when you don't have a movie theatre or a game centre or an arcade or whatever it is. those people do in the cities. Um, going hunting on the weekend and running the dogs and getting your thermal out, getting your bang sticks out and culling some feral animals to protect the crop that your family's got blood, sweat, and tears in to feed the family for a year. Um, these kind of problems are 35,000 pigs in a week. Um, there's some more issues here, um, and I wish more people were aware of it so that it could be an election issue again and actually get some real traction. There's great management systems in New South Wales and Victoria, the Territory, Tasmania. There's all sorts of um, models here in Australia that work and have proven to work. I think you'll find that a lot of those qualms previous governments have had a pretty low level in most people's mind. That the things that they've raised are all in the mind, minimal percentages over the real benefit to the community. So look out for that article again on page 6 in the Queensland Country Life. It's a good little article, and I'm sure people like Shooters Union and the Deer Association and the Pig Doggers and Hunters Associations are all going to be continually to do what they need to do to support this and get it up. What else did I have? Oh yeah, in same week, feral cats. Wow, feral cats, haven't they been the bane of Australian wildlife's existence, the old feral cat? Most people I know see a feral cat and it's high on their priority to make sure that cat doesn't take another breath. My family owns cats. It's an indoor cat, never goes outside. It's registered and all those other things. But let me tell you, if I found it outside, it wouldn't be taking too many more breaths either. But essentially, feral cats, if you didn't know, if you're someone that doesn't know how much damage they've done and how much extinction they have caused in our native population is ridiculous. So they are a blight on us, and there's been multiple programs started over many successive governments with limited, I think, success. And there's a quote here from Tanya Plibersek here about the new feral cat abatement plan. That plan is ongoing and still being worked on, still being looked at. They're looking at things like encouraging responsible pet ownership for pet cats. Since declaring, I'll quote the article here. Since declaring war on feral cats, we're mobilising artificial intelligence, cat trap technology, and strong community action to combat this invasive pest and safeguard Australia's biodiversity, she said. We're investing $60 million in groundbreaking projects that safely and quickly, humanely catch and eradicate feral cats. The projects also help land managers and farmers to protect land and livestock, native wildlife from feral cats. $60 million in some fancy cat traps. You can put a few bounties in each state on cats. Imagine the bounties that bounties have been tried before, and from my research, a lot of bounties are pretty successful. I think Victoria still runs a bounty program in some areas. I tell you what, a bounty program put a decent price on them, and I bet you'd get every 18-year-old kid with gear out there doing their best, whether it's trapping, whether it's using legal means of culling. I tell you what, there'd be a few more people that'd be able to make an industry out of that and feed a few more mouths and keep a few more people in work. But what do you think about $60 million being spent on smart cat trap technology? Yeah, put a comment down below. if you've got any comments tonight, want to start a conversation, put it down there, whether it's about, fast focus eyepieces, whether it's about the national rally in Canberra today, or feral cats, whether it's the hunting in state forests in Queensland. Got an opinion? Let's start a conversation. Like to hear it. We're looking for engagement from you guys. That's what we're here for, and we hope that we're giving you something benefiting having these conversations. The other one I found this week also was the. Let me just scroll through my notes here. Oh yeah, the exclusion fencing article also in the came out today on the Queensland Country Life's website. Has enough cluster fencing been built? Question mark. Article by Sally Gall. It's got a lot to do with the wild dog problem and the management programs that are out trying to help a lot of these, again, feral pests. Since 2015, the Queensland government spent $29.3 million to try and get this fenced off, both in cluster fencing and some exclusion fencing, as far as I understand it. There's so much more ground. They're talking about, a cluster fence that could go around 29,500 hectares. Like, we're not talking about a small amount of money, but the point of the article's really gone to the fact that, they've allowed this $30 million. You don't get much fence for $30 million when you're talking about the hectares, the kind of country you're talking about fencing and excluding. Most of the shires, Gundawindi, Southern Downs, most of these places have well and truly spent or coming close to spending their allotted fees. Paru has used 78% of its funds. There's plenty of these shires. There's a list on the. I won't bore you with all the details, but I guess same thing. Wild dogs around my local area have been a problem in the last. I haven't been long in this part of town, but I'm going to say the last 4 to 5 months there has been continual amount of conversation with the people that I talk to about sheep loss. There's still some sheep around the downs, and talking to one guy the other day, literally 2 weeks ago, and he was talking about almost 100 sheep gone in a matter of weeks. It's nothing to get up in the morning and be 20 dead ones out there, or 20 that need to be destroyed because they've gnawed on them and they're laying there wounded. Talking to local retailers who own property themselves, showing trail camera images of packs of wild dogs, 7, 8, 9 in a pack. Here at Outback Optics, we have a few people that we send product to test to who are pro dog trappers, and some of those people are trapping 6, 7, 800 dogs a year. There is a lot of dog problem in Australia, and this is what this money is trying to do, is trying to fence some of that off, so you got a chance of knocking those invasive species out of that, that fencing, that that fenced off area, that penned off area, whichever way you want to describe it. Cluster fencing, exclusion fencing. What you're trying to separate an area to recover, so you can go in there and then cull out the things you don't want within that cluster or that property, so that you've got a chance for the natural environment to come back. So it's a lot of fence, it's a lot of work, needs a bit more money, I think. It's quite a good article with facts and figures if you like to get into the facts and figures. There's a few quotes from the local blokes talking about losing cattle, losing calves. Then there's a lot of stuff from the National Wild Dog Coordinator. He's been quoted in the article as well. They're looking to try and build a big map, so that map can go to the next round of funding, which is understood to be in 2025. So Tell you what, throw a lot of money at this program over a lot of years. Again, wild dogs. What's in your area? Who who's doing what? Who's seeing dogs? How you control them? Send your pictures in. Let's spread the word if we need to. Wild dogs, feral cats, feral pigs, feral deer. There's a lot of strain on agricultural communities. Uh, every time you say a feral this or a feral that, feral goat, it's another blade of grass that doesn't go to, I guess, feeding your cow or your sheep, that goes into Woolworths to feed someone somewhere else. So, again, we're here to talk about rural communities, rural issues. These are a couple of good articles I thought were you know, pretty close to our hearts because they speak to a lot of recreational culling that gets done with our products. So I thought it was well worth mentioning, and I hope you enjoyed some of that discussion. And if you haven't seen those articles, go check them out in Queensland Country Life because I got all those from Queensland Country Life. On a more positive note, last week we talked about 2025 new products. Sorry, I've got two screens going on here, different things happening on each of them. 2025 new products. We're still putting together some plans for that. We still love some feedback from you. Last week we had some people commenting on that, and a lot of that feedback was positive. Binos, Timber 42 binos seemed to be the thing that people talked about. There was some conversations about scopes suited to thermal clip-on applications. I'd like to keep going with that conversation. We want to build products that suit you, the Australian consumer. We don't want to build products that end up being like a museum in our warehouse. So if we can make products that suit you and you want to purchase, that makes it good for everybody. So yeah, drop a comment below. I'm thinking about maybe doing a poll. Maybe I pick a few random things, binos, rangefinders. I don't know. Maybe if we get enough comments on this over the next week or so, we can start a poll and with different people's suggestions, because again, we'd like engagement from you guys. As I just said, we want to make products to sell and products that you want to buy. So if we give you an opportunity to put your own thoughts out there, we'd love to listen and see if they make sense in our mix up. So always good. Let's keep that coming this week. What else? Oh yeah, always want to just remind everyone we are a local Australian company. We've been going since 2019. Our team's got over 30 years of experience in the trade, designed in rural New South Wales and Queensland. We are focused on rural communities, as you've probably gathered if you're watching this live stream. To who we are, to we're about, to our customers are, to our people are, to my family is. We want to be Australia's best value optics. That's the key. That's the sum up. That's the message. That's the punchline. We want to be the Toyota GXL Land Cruiser of the market. We don't want to be Sahara. We'd like to offer some of those products one day, but again, not everyone can afford a Sahara. And our rural community, we listen to them, and most of the rural community wants good value for money, whether it's groceries, whether it's car insurance, whether it's house and contents insurance, whether it's whatever. They want good value products, and that's what we aim to offer. And we need you to help spread that word. Couple of other things we've got on the cook. Might have said last week, we've got a website update coming. There's already some that's been updated as we speak. We're looking to build a subscriber list, and I know some of you go, another subscriber list, another email that I'm going to get. We've never really done that before. So we're just going to put it on our website, and if you want to get notifications about in the future, and I'm not going to do it next week because it won't be worth doing it for 3 people. But if you want to get notifications about new product launches, live streams, I'm going to try and do a live stream every Tuesday night for the foreseeable future. But yeah, look, we want to develop, we want to communicate when there's something to communicate. We don't just want to be spamming you every single day with a spam. I don't have the time to do that, and I'm sure you don't want to waste your time doing it. So, when we've got things to remind people about spam, we've got things coming off back order going to your local dealer. We've got new dealers in certain areas. Whatever that information might be, we think is pretty relevant to you. We'd like to get some subscriber email addresses so we can communicate that to you. Um, Again, being straight up, that's what we're looking to do. It's on the website, so you'll start to see that come through. So hopefully those changes will come through in the next few weeks, and I might even do a live stream on it and do a share my screen and show you where a few new things are and why we've done it. If anyone's interested for 10 minutes. Ordered some new camera gear today. Don't know how to use any of it, but we're going to find that out. So I've got some new lenses coming, got some fancy lights coming. I've got some 4K streaming gear so you can see my ugly head a bit more. And yes, Matt, I have given the hardest working hat in Australian gun industry a rest tonight. You can't see it anywhere. It's had its time off tonight. But yeah, look, I'm hoping to make a little bit nicer quality content. If it's easier on the eye, you more likely want to watch it. So that's what I'm trying to do. So that most of that probably won't lob to the September 20. So according to the email I got today. Yeah, that's just about it on my little list of talking points. As I said, going to do a few more of these. Hope you get to know us better. I'd love your input. Anything, don't care. If it's agricultural, rural, community related, I don't care if you want to tell me that your local such and such, Border Collie Working Dog Club's got an event on. I'm happy to share it. I don't mind if you've got a local shotgun club that's got a community event going on. I'm more than happy to share that stuff. Just message it through, or you could even comms at outbackoptics.com.au, COMMS at outbackoptics.com.au if you want to send stuff that I can share through. I'm happy to support local communities because we're a part of that same community. So that's enough waffle for me. That's 40 minutes in. I haven't seen any comments or anything tonight, so I'm hoping this is working, but I'm not using my phone. I'm using a different camera tonight, again, trying to learn some of this fancy live stream stuff. So, again, thanks for listening. I hope you'll give us some feedback over the coming days as you watch this, and look forward to catching up with you around the traps somewhere. Hooroo and good night. Oh, happy birthday to my wife, Sarah. Love you heaps, and I hope you had a great day. Hooroo.